All right, YouTube, welcome. We're just going to wait here for a minute while some people flow in. So I'm just going to stare at you awkwardly for a few minutes. Today we're going to go over part 2 of the LGBTQIA Resource Center Glossary. If you missed the first part of this, you can find it in the videos under part 1. But today we're going to start with part 2. Let's see here. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and get started, since if anyone misses a part of it, they can go back and watch it on the live. The first we're going to start with today is genderqueer. That is a person whose gender identity and or gender expression falls outside of the dominant societal norm for their assigned sex, is beyond genders, or is in some combination of them. Next, gender unicorn. A commonly used model to explain various aspects of one's identity, including assigned sex at birth, gender identity, gender expression, physical attraction, and romantic attraction. The gender unicorn illustrates how the exception of assigned sex at birth, unicorn illustrates how, with the exception of assigned sex at birth, these different aspects of identity exist on spectrums. The gender unicorn is available at transstudent.org/gender. The popular gingerbread person has plagiarized from the gender unicorn. Both models are not comprehensive representations of identities, since these are complex topics. Now, if you want to find any of this information later on, you can find it in my Discord, which is under Chronicles of Chaotic Kitty. You can find me there. I will someday get a link put up here, but I have not, so you can always just message me or something, or leave a comment, and I can get you a Discord invite. Okay, next is gender variant. Hello, Lynette. Gender variant, a person who varies from the expected characteristics of the assigned gender. Heteronormativity. This is attitudes and behaviors that incorrectly assume gender is binary, ignoring genders besides women and men, and that people should and will align with conventional expectations of society for gender identity, gender expression, and sexual and romantic attraction. For example, someone assigned female at birth is expected to 1. Have a body that is considered female by the dominant culture, 2. Identify as a girl or woman, 3. Act feminine and fulfill the roles associated with girls and or women, and 4. Be romantically and sexually attracted to men. Heterosexism. The assumption that all people are or should be heterosexual. Heterosexism excludes the needs, concerns, and life experiences of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and queer people, while it gives advantages to heterosexual people. It is often a subtle form of oppression which reinforces realities of silence and erasure. Heterosexuality is a sexual orientation in which a person feels physically and emotionally attracted to people of a gender other than their own. As a staff, we've been intentionally moving away from using words like transphobic, homophobic, and biphobic because 1, they inaccurately describe systems of oppression as irrational fears, and 2, for some people, phobias are a very distressing part of their lived experience, and co-opting this language is disrespectful to their experiences and perpetuates ableism. Okay, homosexual and homosexuality. An outdated term to describe a sexual orientation in which a person feels physically and emotionally attracted to people of the same gender. Historically, it was a term used to pathologize gay and lesbian people. Intersectionality. A term coined by law professor Kimberly Crenshaw in the 1980s to describe the way that multiple systems of oppression interact in the lives of those with multiple marginalized identities. Intersectionality looks like at the relationships between multiple marginalized identities and allows us to analyze social problems more fully, shape more effective interventions, and promote more exclusive advocacy amongst communities. I'm reading. We're educating ourselves on LGBTQIA terms and like the glossary. That's what we're doing. So if you want to see a really good TED Talk video on Kimberly Crenshaw, I will leave the link in the description so that you guys can go check that out later. And again, if you want a copy of this information, you can find it in my Discord, which I will, if you want to find me in Discord, it's Chronicles of Chaotic Kitty, or comment on the video of this once it's processed, and I can get you an invite as long as you're 18 and over. Okay, intersex, an umbrella term to describe a wide range of natural body variations that do not fit neatly into conventional definitions of male or female. Intersex variations may include, but are not limited to, variations in chromosome compositions, hormone concentrations, and external and internal characteristics. Many visibly intersex people are mutilated in infancy and early childhood by doctors to make the individual's sex characteristics conform to society's idea of what normal bodies should look like. Intersex people are relatively common, although society's denial of their existence has allowed very little room for intersex issues to be discussed publicly. Hermaphrodite is an outdated and inaccurate term that has been used to describe intersex people in the past. So we don't use that terminology anymore. Kink, kinky, or kinkiness, most commonly referred to as an unconventional sexual practices for which people derive varying forms of pleasure and consensually play out various forms of desires, fantasies, and scenes. Next is Latinx, pronounced Latinx, is a non-gender specific way of referring to people in Latin American descent. The term Latinx, unlike terms such as Latino or Latina and Latin with a @ sign, does not assume a gender binary and includes non-binary folks. The leather community, a community which encompasses those who enjoy sexual activities involving leather, including leather uniforms or cowboy outfits, and is related to similar fetish-based communities such as sadomasochism, bondage and domination, and rubber. Although the leather community is often associated with the queer community, it is not a gay-only community. Lesbian, usually a woman whose primary sexual and affectional orientation is toward people of the same gender. However, some non-binary people also identify as lesbians, often because they have some connection to womanhood and are primarily attracted to women. See non-binary below. LGBT, abbreviation for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, an umbrella term that is often used to refer to the community as a whole. Our center uses LGBTQIA to intentionally include and raise awareness of queer, intersex, and asexual communities, as well as a myriad of other communities under our umbrella. LGBTQIA allyship, the practice of confronting heterosexism, sexism, genderism, allosexism, and monosexism in oneself and others out of self-interest and concern for the well-being of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual people, is founded on the understanding that dismantling. See, this is what happens sometimes. It gets cut off. And so then the rest of the definition isn't there. Unfortunately, whoever set this up did not set it up in a good way. But I think you get the gist of allyship. Now, something that I feel is appropriate when talking about allyship is that you do not get to call yourself an ally. You can only be deemed an ally by the community that you are trying to support. That's how I feel about that. So, okay, masculine of center. A term coined by B. Cole of the Brown Boy Project to describe folks, including lesbian, queer women, and trans folks who lean towards the masculine side of the gender spectrum. These can include a wide range of identities such as butch, stud, aggressive, AG, dom, macha, tomboy, transmasculine, etc. Hey, Paula! We're just going over some terminology. Microaggressions. These are brief and subtle behaviors, whether intentional or not, that communicate hostile, derogatory, or negative messages of commonly oppressed identities. These actions cause harm through the invalidation of the target person's identity and may reinforce stereotypes. Examples of microaggressions include a person who is not white being told they speak good English, or someone saying something is gay to mean that they think something is bad. Obviously, we don't use this terminology anymore. Misgendering. Attributing a gender to someone that is incorrect, does not align with their gender, or does not align with their gender identity. Can occur when using pronouns gendered language, hello ladies, hey guys, or assigning genders to people without knowing who, how their identity, how they identify. For example, well, since we're all women in this room, we understand blank. MLM, an abbreviation for men who love men, which includes gay men as well as men who are attracted to men and people of other genders. Okay, so the people in here that are making rude comments, you are so calling yourself out as the Republicans that you are. So, I mean, only a Republican would say the things that you're saying and not appreciating the education that you're getting right now. So just be mindful of what you're saying to people. It's really ignorant and unintelligent. Of course you're a Republican. I knew that. Because only Republicans are this rude and hateful and violent. So you call yourself out every time you open your mouth. Anyways, monogamy. Having only one intimate partner at any one time, also known as serial monogamy, since true monogamy refers to the practice of having only one partner for life, such as in one animal species. Monosexism. The belief in and systemic privileging of monosexuality as superior and the systemic oppression of non-monosexuality. Monosexual are people who have romantic, sexual, and affectional desires for only one gender. Heterosexuality and homosexuality are the most well-known forms of monosexuality. MSM, an abbreviation for men who have sex with men. They may or may not identify as gay. Multisexual, an umbrella term to describe attraction to more than one gender. It can include sexual attractions like bisexual, polysexual, omnisexual, and others. The aforementioned terms are used by some interchangeably, and for others, the subtle differences among them are important. Loretta coming in hot, thank you. One thing I want to note here is that, see, this is why I'm glad that we're going over this, because I'm learning things too. So the MSM, an abbreviation for men who have sex with men, they may or may not identify as gay. This is something that's always been interesting to me, where there's men that have had sexual experiences with other men, but then say that they're not gay. And I always thought that that was ridiculous, and that maybe they were just, afraid, or like their ego was getting in the way of is an umbrella term. Yes, this is what I'm learning too. I thought that was very like the definition, but apparently there's other definitions under that. But I always thought that if a man or woman had sexual interactions with the same sex, that just automatically made them gay. But there are people that don't identify as gay, and I always thought that was just them being kind of like internalized anti-gay. You know what I mean? Like that some people have internalized misogyny, internalized racism. I felt like that was internalized anti-queerness, basically. But it's described here, so I'm wondering if, I mean, I guess that makes sense. We want to include everyone in how they identify. But I always just feel like if you're having those, I mean, unless it's like a situation where you're experimenting because you're unsure and then you realize that like that interaction made you fully understand that like, no, I'm not gay, or yes, I am gay, or I am bi, or whatever. I don't know. That's interesting to me. Okay, so the heterosexuality and homosexuality are the most well-known forms of monosexuality. People who have romantic, sexual, or affectional desires for one gender only. Oh, okay. So that just means not, like they're not bi, they're not pan. Oh, answer. I don't do demands. If you want to demand something of me, you're going to have to send me some money on Cash App. Like I don't just do what you demand me to do. I don't do that. So, yeah, you're gonna have to pay for that. Yeah. Anyways, okay, so let's go back to heterosexuality as an umbrella, because that's interesting. Where did we read that? Liz, do you remember where we just read that? Because I want to look more into that about heterosexuality being an umbrella term. Weird, Mr. Coconut. You have some issues that you might need to work out with yourself or your therapist. I suggest therapy, but I know that we can't all afford it. You know, sometimes we can't afford therapy that we need. I was talking about homosexuality. Well, no, listen. You want me to do something for you. You want me to provide you a service of entertainment. So it doesn't matter how much money I have in my bank account currently. Okay, I could have $1 or $1 million. If you want me to provide a service for you, then you're going to pay me for it. It's capitalism. You Republicans love capitalism. Don't you understand how this works? So weird. Okay, homosexuality. I'm sorry, I'm getting lost in my own education. Weird comments on YT. I know, they're weird. I was talking about homosexuality. Okay. I can't find where we were talking about that. I'm so sorry, Liz. I'm looking back on that definition, and all I'm seeing is that it's an outdated term It says an outdated term to describe a sexual orientation in which a person feels physically and emotionally attracted to people of the same gender. Historically, it was a term used to pathologize gay and lesbian people. So if you remember, what all is considered homosexuality. Okay. I mean, hold on, I'm going back to read your original comment. I don't know. I didn't know bi was also homosexual. Oh, I see. You're asking me. Okay, that's why I was like, what am I doing? I'm looking for something that I can't find. Someone's stuck on batteries. They must really like them so much. I like them. Yeah. So, let's see. Let me try to figure out how to answer that question. Okay, so from what it's saying here with the monosexual definition, it says people who have romantic, sexual, or affectional desire for one gender only. Heterosexuality and homosexuality are the most well-known forms of monosexuality. So bi actually doesn't fall under the category, under the umbrella of homosexuality. Homosexuality would be like you like the opposite gender and that's it. And heterosexuality is you like the same gender and that's it. But then you have bi and pan and all of the other different types of sexuality. You know what I mean? So that's what seems like. I don't know. Does that make any sense? No, don't apologize. Listen, we can stop and talk about these things as much as y'all want. It helps me understand them too, you know? So, because there's so many definitions on here I've never heard of. Oh, you heard me wrong. Yeah. No, it's okay. Okay, so I think this is the one. Multisexual, an umbrella term to describe attraction to more than one gender. It can include sexual attractions like bisexual, polysexual, omnisexual, and others. The aforementioned terms are used by some interchangeably, and for others, the subtle differences among them are important. So I've never heard of the terminology multisexual. I always kind of, and I know that every person kind of has their own meaning of it, especially since the word queer was like taken back from the bigots, you know. For me, in my mind, queer is kind of the umbrella term for all of this. But now I have the terminology of multisexual, and queer kind of fits in that umbrella, under that umbrella, I think. And that makes sense. I'm sorry I had to, but they are not worth the time. Just ignore them. And maybe one day they will wake up and have love and not hate. But not going to count on them because they don't know how to educate exactly themselves. Exactly. That's why I'm not spending too much time on them. I mean, I am going to be snarky back a little bit, but I'm not going to spend too much time on them. But the longer that they're here, they're helping me get monetized. So the longer that a person is on here watching me, the quicker I'm able to get monetized on here and make money from my videos and ads and things like that. So as long as he's not getting too out of hand, I'm going to let him stay because he's helping my numbers right now and he's helping me get monetized. So if somebody comes on here and they're bothering y'all, I'll get rid of him then too. But so far he's not bothering me that much. He's just helping me get paid. Okay. Neurodiversity. Plus, maybe some of it will sink into his tiny little fucking pea brain mind. You know? Yeah, thanks, coconut. Everybody think coconut. Everybody in the chat think coconut. Neurodiversity refers to the natural and important variations in how human minds think. These differences can include autism, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, uh, dyspraxia, dyslexia, dyscalculia, Tourette syndrome, and others. Excuse me. Like other variable human traits like race, gender, sexuality, or culture, there is no right or wrong form of diversity. This The social dynamics that exert power over other forms of diversity also impact neurodivergent people. Neurodiversity is not something to be cured or corrected to fit some social norm. Rather, we should celebrate different forms of communication and self expression. Although you're weird, mister. Yes. Thanks, coconut. Ah. I love it. Neurodivergent. Neurodivergent, sometimes abbreviated as ND, means having a brain that functions in ways that diverge significantly from the dominant societal standards of normal. A person whose neurocognitive functioning diverges from dominant societal norms in multiple ways. For instance, a person who is autistic, has dyslexia, and has epilepsy can be described as multi-divergent. The terms divergent and neurodivergence, the terms neurodivergent and neurodivergence were coined by Cassian Isasamu. I'm going to butcher this name, but I'm going to try my best. Cassian Asasumasu, a multiple neurodivergent neurodiversity activist. That is such a big word. Anyways, neurotypical. Neurotypical neurotypical, often abbreviated as NT, means having a style of neurocognitive functioning that falls within the dominant societal standards of normal. Neurotypical can be used as either oh my god, I can't talk. Neurotypical can be used as either an adjective. Why can't I say that word? Adjective, as in he's neurotypical, or a noun, as in he's a neurotypical. What is this word? Neutrois? Neutrois. Neutrois? Anyways, it means a non-binary gender identity that falls under the genderqueer or transgender umbrellas. There is no one definition of neutrois, as each person that self-identifies as such experiences their gender differently. The most common ones are neutral gender, null gender, neither male or female, genderless, and or agender. There's a website, neutrois.com, neutrois.com. Okay. Non-binary. And it's shown as it can be two separate words, one word, or hyphenated. A gender identity and experience that embraces a full universe of expressions and ways of being that resonate for an individual. Moving beyond the female-male gender binary. It may be an active resistance to binary gender expectations and or an intentional creation of new, unbounded ideas of self within the world. For some people who identify as non-binary, there may be an overlap with other concepts and identities like expansive and gender non-conforming. Okay, so just so you guys know, I'm just going to finish up this page, and then we will finish the rest of it tomorrow. Yeah, I think that works good. And just so you know, these were last edited in 2020. So always be mindful of the fact that some of these can change, evolve, become outdated, things like that. So it's a good idea, if it's terminology that you want to use or use often, that you just research it and make sure it's something that is still respectful. Okay, omnigender. Possessing all genders, the term is used specifically to refute the concept of only two genders. Oh, Skitty Butt's having a dream. Do you hear him? I missed a lot. This will be posted immediately. Look at him having a dream. Sketty! Don't have bad dreams, buddy. The live will be posted as soon as it's done processing. It'll be posted on here if you want to go back and watch. So, okay. Oppression. Oppression exists when one social group, whether knowingly or unconsciously, exploits another social group for its own benefit. He's playing with friends. I know. Individual level. A person's beliefs or behaviors that consciously or subconsciously work to perpetuate actions and attitudes of oppression. Institutional level. Institutions such as family, government, industry, education, and religion have policies and procedures that can promote systems of oppression. Societal/cultural level. Community norms that perpetuate implicit and explicit values that bind institutions and individuals. Social norms on what is valued, accepted, or desirable give the individual and institutional levels the justification for systemic oppression. Orientation. Orientation is one's attraction or non-attraction to other people. An individual's orientation can be fluid, and people use a variety of labels to describe their orientation. Some, but not all, types of attraction or orientation include romantic, sexual, sensual, aesthetic, intellectual, and platonic. All right, and we'll stop there for today. We'll finish the rest up tomorrow. Let's see. Sorry, just looking at something. You guys, believe it or not, there's this little button over here that I can click that says top fans. Guess who's my top fan for the day? It's Mr. Coconut. So thank you, Mr. Coconut, for being my #1 fan today. I had a feeling that you were just really into me. I don't think it was ever about the batteries. I think it was just that you're into me, and that's fine. I understand. Anyways, so we're going to end this for now. And I will, once this is processed, it'll be posted if anyone wants to go back and watch it. And we're going to finish up with part 3 tomorrow. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed to me yet, go ahead and subscribe. I don't know how they chose that. I don't know. Okay, Mr. Coconut, make sure you subscribe. I think it's for the, like, how long somebody's been in here. And Mr. Coconut was screaming batteries before you and Loretta got here for a bit. So I think that's what happened. I don't know. Dude's really into batteries. But, all right. I will see you guys back here. Well, I'll see you all tonight for Lola Night. It will be subscriber chat only, but you can, if you're not subscribed, you can watch, or you can subscribe. It's $2.99. Or we'll be back on TikTok tomorrow at somewhere around 6. And then we'll do part 3 of the educational stuff on here after that. So, all right. Bye, Paula. Bye, Liz. Bye, Loretta. Everybody else, I will see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. Gotta ask, are batteries healthy, Mr. Coconut? Yeah. Why do you want to eat batteries so bad, Mr. Coconut? Tell us about your battery obsession. I don't know. I don't know. I just got hooked. That's usually how it happens. All of a sudden, you're just out here slamming batteries. You don't know how you got there. They probably have a rehab for that. They kind of have a rehab for everything, but I don't know. When I accidentally ate one? Did it give you an energy boost? All right, I'll see y'all later.